Fireside Chat is to equip CCSF students and student leaders with a wealth of leadership insight, tips, and strategies. I hope you have a better understanding of leadership in action from a diverse group of effective and seasoned leaders across various industries. Before we introduce today's speaker, Chel Gilla, who is the founder and co-owner of Tselogs Corporation, an authentic contemporary Filipino restaurant, I'd like to share a few details about the program. First, there are 5 leadership fireside chat this semester, and they are scheduled on Zoom on Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. The first chat was held on August 27th. The upcoming 3 dates are October 29th, November 19th, and December 17th. We are planning to schedule 5 more chats next semester for a total of 10 this academic year. Second, those who attend 7 out of 10 fireside chats are eligible to receive a certificate of participation at a recognition event at the end of next semester. Every session is open to all students, even if you decide not to participate in the certificate part of the program. Since you have registered for today's session, thanks to Zoom, we have a record of your attendance. Nothing further is needed on your end to mark your participation. Next, please note that this session will be recorded. The link will be posted on CCSF Second Activities Office website for you to view later or to share with others so that they may benefit from this learning opportunity as well. If you have any questions about this Leadership Fireside Chat program and the certificate of participation, please email ccsflife@ccsf.edu. I would also like to share a little bit regarding today's format. After this opening remark, Dr. Geisce Ly, Dean of Downtown Center and School of Business, Fashion, Culinary Arts, Child Development, and Horticulture will interview today's speaker for about 45 minutes. If you have questions for Chel Gilla, please enter them in the chat at around 5 p.m. There will be a question and answer opportunity for Ms. Gilla to respond to your questions. During the last 10 minutes of our time together, we will invite you to share what you've learned today that will help you in your leadership development journey. Now, we will introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Yang. And hi, everyone. Welcome. And thank you.
Alice, we're getting echoes. So we're going to be introducing today's speaker. Alice, can you hear us?
Oh, sorry, I just cutting out. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you now, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. And thank you, Yang, and hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alice Shi, and I'm an ESL student here at City College. I am delighted to introduce today's speaker, Chel Gilla. Chel Gilla is the founder and co-owner of Tselogs Corporation, an authentic and contemporary Filipino restaurant with 3 branches in the Bay Area. focusing on quality food, sustainability, and genuine customer service. Ms. Gilla recognized that success of her restaurant will be difficult to achieve with her passion alone. This inspired her to create a training program for her team at Tselogs, which teaches leadership skills along with character and mindset development. Ms. Gilla believed that everyone in her team is a leader, capable of making sound decisions. Her hard work, commitment, and resilience resulted in establishing the Tselogs School of Leadership, a state of California approved program. Tselogs was voted the best Filipino restaurant in the Bay Area and was highly touted on SFGate and other numerous review sites. In fact, Tselogs was featured on CBS 5 Eye on the Bay as one of the best cheap eats in the Bay Area. Prior to creating Tselogs, Chel Gilla was a senior account specialist at Merrill Lynch, in which she handled approximately $300 billion in daily trade settlements. Her experience at Merrill Lynch made her realize that the possibilities to be a positive change engine are endless. Ms. Gilla earned a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from San Francisco State University. I now would like to turn this over to Dean Lee, who will be chatting with Ms. Gilla about her leadership journey and experiences.
Thank you very much, Alice, and thank you, Yan Yoon, for the opening remarks. We are delighted to have Chel Gilla today. For the folks who are on the call for the first time, we are in for a treat. I've gotten to know Chel the last 4+ years. She is one dynamic person. She is amazing. We're just, again, very, very delighted, Chel, that you are joining us today. I will serve as an interviewer, Oprah. I'll do my best to ask you questions. For the folks on the call, this is a learning opportunity. We are going to be learning from Chel, specifically how she has been so successful as an entrepreneur and what she has done to sort of train her folks to be amazing leaders and to get them to really think beyond who they are as a person. So Chel has done a lot of empowerment work. And again, today's leadership learning opportunity is what has she done, right? What can you do to borrow some of her ideas and to apply some of the learning? So again, this is really a leadership development opportunity. This program is again for anybody who wants to just take a look at, what I can do differently and how can I be a positive social change agent. So anyways, enough said. Chel Gilla is absolutely a positive social change agent. And I will turn it over to Chel by asking the first question. So Chel, tell us about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Man, that introduction though, I'm just, that's too grand. So, well, that sounded very serious. So first off, I'm not that serious of a person, but yes, my name is Chel Gilla and I am the founder of Tselogs and co-owner. I also founded the Tselogs School of Leadership, which they mentioned is a California approved program. So I was raised in the Philippines. I actually came here when I was 16. And I was raised to believe that, because my mom is disabled and this has, my upbringing has to do a lot with her limitations becoming my unlimitations. And that's very powerful growing up because although there are expectations outside, she's always pushed me that there's always more to life than expectations. It was difficult though to see that growing up in a system, in society, especially in the Philippines, where you have very extreme situations and status. And I also come from a very Christian, very conservative Christian background. So there's a lot of irony of this truth that I am living today. I came here in the United States when I was 16. So as you can see, my mind is already formed. I'm Filipino. I love my country and all that good things. But I came here when I was 16 and I didn't expect what I was seeing. And I came here and I went to Jefferson High School. So I'm a Jeff head. I want to say that I'm very proud. Anyway, I went to San Francisco State and my dream job was actually to work at San Quentin because I believe in transformation. I believe that people can change and they should be given hope. But I did not take a position there, although I was accepted, because I needed to provide for my family. Again, my mom was disabled and I have a younger sister that's depending on me. So I chose to work at Merrill Lynch. And I thought that this is a stable job. I would make money and provide. But I was not happy. I was good at it. I would like to think that I was the best in what I was doing, but I was not happy. So I decided to open a restaurant after 4 years of staying there. And that was when I was 27.
I'm muted. So Chel, tell us more about your inspirations. So you talk about your mother, you talk about your sister. So tell us more about your thought processes to wanting to open a restaurant. What was that inspiration about?
I think this didn't happen. This didn't happen overnight. You know, there's a lot of specific experiences and realizations that made me make up my mind to open a restaurant. I remember when I was 9. So, I mean, we weren't wealthy. There's a lot of lack growing up. Sometimes the only thing that is in the fridge would be water, right? Just water. And that was norm. I didn't know anything better. So I was 9 years old. I asked my pastor and I said, how can I be rich? And then I think I remember my pastor, his name is Pastor Jerry. He's like a second dad to me. He said, well, he quoted a verse in Proverbs, and it says, I believe it's Proverbs 18. He said, humility comes before honor. So he gave me a rag, cleaned church. And then he said, and then open a business one day. And so that training actually prepped me to just be up for anything, because at an early age, I'm like, and I took it seriously too. I'm like, you know what? I'll clean anything. I was working for Merrill Lynch. I was cleaning the kitchen. It didn't leave me even till today. If I go to a public restroom, I clean it. My point is that it started very early, and I told myself that it may not be a restaurant, it could be anything, but I'll definitely open a business. And then, so when I was 16 and I came here, during that time, the mayor of De La City was Filipino. His name is Mike Ingona. And I'm like, whoa, this is America. And our leader is Filipino. I went to school. My teachers are Filipino. I went to state. My professors, some of them are Filipino. They're doctors. They're making it. And so I told myself, wow, this is a good environment to start. And so I knew at that moment that this is a good environment for me to thrive.
So Chel, I mean, that's some serious courage, and that's a lot of bravery. So how did you take the first step? So you had the idea, you had the passion, you had the inspiration. How did you get to the first step, right? The second step, the third step?
In opening a restaurant, I would say, I think it's important that I'm not afraid to lose. And I'm not afraid to empty myself and let go. I've had this in my reflection, and time again, when I feel like I'm becoming comfortable and content, I tell myself that if I don't let go of the good, I won't have room for the great. And so it may be just step by step, but sometimes waking up in the morning is the hardest thing, right? So even those little things I take as a milestone, and I rejoice in that. So, but specifically when I was working for Merrill Lynch, and I didn't know actually a month before I quit, recession's gonna happen. It was really, I believe it's providence that I left even before the recession happened. So I worked also at Jollibee. So that was the only restaurant experience I had, but I didn't know how to manage. So I was pretty blindsided with a lot of things, and I didn't have a business background. I didn't have anyone in my family that has a business that I could turn to. And so it was a very scary moment, but I know where I'm gonna go. I know my vision. It's kind of like on Google Maps, right? A person asks you, where are you going? And then you say, I don't know. You'll end up anywhere. You'll end up everywhere. So I made sure that I have a goal. I'm very focused. It may be scary, but I just keep going step by step by step.
That's amazing, Chel. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it's inspiring just to hear, you know, you share your early days. So how do you bootstrap? So again, you talked about working at Jollibee. That was your first exposure. You want to open a business. You have this, you know, like I'm just gonna do it. So how did you bootstrap the early days of finding of your first restaurant? What was that like?
You know, it's funny because I get this question a lot, and I can tell you, if I knew what I was doing, if I knew exactly what I'm getting myself into, I wouldn't do it. Because it's so hard. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. And that's why you know, when people want to open a business of their own, it's nerve-wracking because of uncertainties, right? But you'll be surprised how much you can do. And you'll be surprised that when you have a vision, when you know your purpose, you know why you're there, and you have a plan, things started to, you know, it's like a puzzle. They start to go together and piece back together, but you just gotta start. So, you know, I control what I can do. I heard this is funny because I've been saying this to my friends a lot for the last week. I heard this from a mentor, and he said, there's two principles of in plumbing. Okay, so all water goes down, all water flows down, but don't lick your finger. Meaning, you cannot control water coming down, but you have control over your hand. Don't lick it, right? So a lot of people get stressed with the things that they can't control. Only do what you can and give your best. Because if you give your best, you'll get the best.
Wow, I'm taking a lot of notes, Chel. This is amazing. This is amazing. So Chel, you started with one restaurant, and then two, and then three. So tell us about moving from 1 to 2 to 3. What was that like?
During the time, it wasn't intentional. When I opened the first restaurant, I didn't have any idea if I would open another one. I think I was just so occupied trying to find out how to manage and maintain a restaurant. Actually, we weren't making money until on our 3rd year. So I didn't have time to think about expanding or thinking of opening another project. But my executive chef, and he's been with us since day one, came up to me on I believe, our 4th year. And he talked to me very seriously. And this guy is very funny. He said, you know what, Chel? He calls me by my real name. So it's a little bit scary. He said, Consuelo, this is serious. This is about me, about my life. If you're not going to expand, if you're not going to open another store, I'm quitting. And he said, I believe in you. I believe in our team. You got to take us where we should go, because I'm not going to stay in a place where I don't have growth. And that stunned me, but I love the challenge. I'm like, whoa. See, and I learned from that experience that sometimes we try to look for doors of opportunity. And here's this person opening a door of opportunity, okay? And you know what I'm seeing on the other side? Myself. I'm like, I can get better. And so from that day on, I'm like, okay, we're gonna open another store. So that is really the start of expanding. Not me, so I'm not taking any credit for that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm taking all these notes. So you talk about having a growth mindset, right? Being an entrepreneur, you got to have a growth mindset. Can you say more about what that means to have a growth mindset and not a deficit mindset?
One of the things that we teach in our leadership class is the 7 fitnesses. All of us, most of us, we focus on the physical fitness because that is what we see, that's very tangible, right? But we try to also improve, develop, and grow with our spiritual fitness. If you believe that, if you want your future to be bright, it's something spiritual, you believe in it, right? Because it's something that you don't see, it's faith. We also focus on emotional fitness, the same with physical fitness. Whatever, if you eat junk food every day, you're going to be unfit. Same thing with our emotions. We got to allow good emotions. One popular topic that we have is forgiveness. Now, in leadership classes, that I have not attended a class that would talk about forgiveness, but that's life changing. So this growth mindset has to do with a holistic approach. So you got your emotional fitness, physical fitness as well, professional fitness, financial fitness, relational fitness. So those things we believe, and the perfect score is 0. It's just a starting point. Now, a lot of people, because of our background, because of our experiences, we may be coming from a deficit, but that doesn't mean it's not impossible to break through. So as a business with a school, we use our restaurant as a platform to pass this on to them. So that's, and not only I believe it, it's a fact. I've seen it work, and I believe that, you know, with this session that we're having today, we're here because we know that there's more potential that is untapped within us, and we want to discover those things.
Wow. So I thank you for sharing, you know, your 7 fitness, I mean, approach. That's very, very powerful. So in terms of the idea of using your restaurant as a platform to educate others to live their best life, do their best work, can you say more about that? Because I don't think folks realize that what you're doing is very, very innovative.
It's funny. So I think I'll just share with you how it happened, right? So when I was 14 years old in the Philippines, in Manila, street kids are actually common. You know, they would beg for money, they would ask for food. So I was 14, I was out on the street coming home from somewhere, and there's this kid that came up to me and said, "Do you have money to spare?" And I'm like, hold on, I know you. So apparently this boy was one of my classmates in high school. I was sophomore then. And I said, "What are you doing here?" And I was really shocked. I'm not shocked if I see that, because I don't know them. You know, sometimes we're a little apathetic, but I know this kid and he's smarter than me. Anyway, I asked him, "What are you doing out here? And why did you stop going to school?" And he said, we don't have money for food at home, let alone transportation to go to school. So that dream of having a school started then when I was 14. And I told myself, if God can use someone, one day I will use everything that I have, my abilities, all my strength, to open a school that will provide quality education and food and shelter if they need it. And so I kind of forgot about that, but I know that I'm gonna do something about it. So that experience narrowed down my decisions from when I'm gonna get married, the kind of major I'm gonna take, even the kind of people that I welcome in my life and my friends. And you know, when people don't believe me, because sometimes they tell me like, "Man, you talk so much, you sound like a con artist." You know what I do, because you know, we know that say the same of what is that? Wait, my friends became my credential because they're really better than me. So anyway, with the restaurant, what's great about the restaurant is that it is an entry level job. Most people would apply, and it could be their first job, and that's powerful because for me, and I'm sure it's the same for everyone, you will not forget your first times, especially at a job, right? You remember that person that didn't treat you well. And so we have this influence to pass on something good to people. Some people are still in high school, they're in college, they're in search of something, or sometimes they still don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. And so we saw that there is an opportunity. And in 2017, the consultant for the Department of Labor and Industry came up to me. We're friends. He comes to Tselogs and he said, "Hey, you're not here for the last like 3 months. Where were you?" And I told him, "Oh, I was traveling, seeing people, just really, doing some adventure." And he said, "Hold on, you opened 3 restaurants within 1 year," because we had to move and all that transition. You opened 3 restaurants within a year period. You're gone for 3 months. You don't have any investors. How are you able to do it? And then I said, "Oh, my workers, actually my coworkers, because they don't work for me, they work with me." I said that I came up with a manual, and it's a leadership manual, which I pass on. It's a biblical principles translated in business language. And when you go to the restaurant, you'll actually get confused with the owner, because everyone has the same values, talks, walks like me. Only they're twice as better than me. So he asked me, "Do you want to open a school? Because you can be an apprenticeship school." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Of course, I already have the curriculum set up. So 2017, only after a month. Normally, it takes about 6 months to a year to become an apprenticeship school in California. We became one. And so far, we've had about more than 50 graduates now. Most are opening their own businesses. It could be a restaurant. It could be something else.
Wow, that's amazing, Chel. I mean, not only again, you bootstrap to open your first restaurant, open your second, your third, and throughout the process, you want to again open this apprenticeship school. And again, congratulations. The Tselogs School of Leadership is a California approved program. It's amazing. And I love what you said, even though you're the founder, co-owner, spiritual leader, that your workers, they work with me, not for me. I think that's very powerful. So how do you sort of spread that message throughout? How do you continue that culture of empowerment?
I think one of the things in Filipino culture, I don't think this is just Filipino culture. I think it's coming from insecurity. When people say that, "Oh, that person is succeeding. Oh, that person won't succeed if it weren't for me," right? Because I heard that. I don't believe in that at all. When a person joins our team, when a person gives their time, I actually look at them with gratitude and say, "Thank you for giving the time of your life, the stages of your life during this time, and choosing us and working with us." So they already become part of that mission. So I think if you're coming from a heart of gratitude, genuine gratitude, you'll resonate with that. It will reflect. And it's difficult to say that, "Oh, I'm the leader." I still get like, I think everyone is a leader. But if they see that what I say and what I think and what I do is one, I'm fully integrated, you don't even have to teach that, because they experience that from you already. It's not difficult to convince a person, because I believe that a true leader is predictable. They're not going to second guess. They know exactly what I'll do, and they know exactly what I'll say.
Yeah, that's a very powerful statement. A leader is predictable. Say more about that. How are you predictable, and how is that impacting again the folks that work with you?
Okay, so for example, I think of something, right? Like, okay, I think of doing something, and then I said something different. I actually did something another different. So it's like, you're not 3-person, you're only one. So you gotta mean what you say, do what you think, and the rest will follow. Because we sometimes confuse ourselves, and I don't know, I hear that from people that, "Oh, I'm going to do this because this, and then I see them not doing it. I'm like, people won't trust you because you're not reliable. They don't know who to trust. Will I trust what he's thinking, what he's doing, or what he's saying? So it's important that you're one with yourself. And I believe that's the meaning of integrity. You're one.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chel, on this topic, share with us your core values. So integrity is one, authenticity is another. I can sense that you're a very authentic person. You are real, and it's very inspiring. What are your other core values that you live, that you pass on?
I think one of the, I will just probably say one thing that's happening lately with me. One of the values that I'm embracing more and more, and it's part of maturing, it's part of growth. I don't think there's a graduation for learning. It's mastering my freedom, right? So I have a fitness mentor, and she said that this is mind blowing. She does her own research. She does her own data. She's German, so her data is from Germany. And according to her research, that 97% of our decisions, okay, they call it reflexive concept by Ulrich Beck, German sociologist. Everything that we're conditioned, meaning everything that we already think, our experiences, whatever's passed on to us, we're gonna decide on that. You know how when you say like, oh, I really want to do this, but then I did this because I'm scared, or because it's practical, or because this is convenient, or this is comfortable, or because this is the only thing I know. So you only have 3% strength where your real freedom lies. And when I embrace that more and more, I realize that there's really nothing impossible because, okay, this is funny. I started to do like cold showers just so that it's mind over matter, right? So little steps, but when we really exercise that kind of freedom of choice, we are okay also with the outcome. Embracing your freedom doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. I mean, of course you can, but doing that as well is you're saying to yourself that whatever will come with it, I'm fine with that. For example, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. You're free to do whatever you want. Hey, I don't judge, go have fun. But you're okay also with the consequences. So even before I do something, I make sure that what are the consequences, whether positive or negative, am I up for that? And so I think that really saves me from a lot of headache lately.
I think that's very powerful. I think that's a very, very important, powerful lesson that we have choices, we have decisions, and it's up to us to make those decisions while we factor in the consequences or potential consequences. So in terms of looking ahead, and again, I really appreciate you sharing your stories with us in terms of looking ahead. What choices do you need to make to sustain all this good work? Because as you know, it could come tumbling down. And I know you're not going to let that happen. So what are some of the choices you need to make to keep it going?
Okay, I think I mentioned earlier that, you really do what you can control, like within your control. So to live a sustainable life, for me, starts the day before. You get enough sleep. Because if you don't get enough sleep and you get enough rest, whatever you want to do the next day, you can never say that you can give your 100%. You can't. So plan ahead, get enough sleep, prepare your mind. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I just read one verse, a positive verse from the Bible. I meditate on it, I pray. And that only takes about 5 minutes. And then I go to the gym for an hour and a half. And now I told you I swim every day now. So I now choose to really trim the things that I do and really focus on the things that this is what I want to do. And this is bringing a lot of fulfillment in my life. And then after that, I have breakfast with my team. So we reflect from the previous day, what worked, what didn't work. We learn from that. And we take this on a daily basis. This is not like, let's meet after 2 weeks. Like, no, what went down yesterday? And then from then, we plan our day. So even before we leave our homes, the day is done. I'm already there.
Chel, you just introduced a new concept to me, and I don't know if the folks on the call picked it up. She reflects with her team on a daily basis.
Yes.
That's powerful. what was it like? I mean, what is it like to plan with your team, to strategize, and to just really be mindful of that?
Like what I said, it's not that serious. I mean, I guess we just really want to hang out. We just want to hang out, have fun with each other. But I think not only that you talk about the profound future, but you're also enjoying each other's company. What really is growing is your relationship, the bonding with each other and the trust, because that's important. And sometimes even if our decisions or even our body language doesn't reflect that we trust each other, we know we do because of that routine.
Wow, that's great. So Chel, shifting gear just a little bit. We have a lot of students on the Zoom call. We have a lot of student leaders as well. What advice would you give to students and student leaders that are trying to, again, chart their path? What advice would you give to the folks on the call that find you to be inspirational, but yet at the same time may not, be ready to maybe take that next step? What advice would you sort of share with them so that they have that self-confidence to succeed?
A lot of people come to me and ask, oh, I don't think I'm ready to be a leader. I don't think I'm called to be a leader. I don't see myself as a leader. So even before they entertain the idea of, oh, I think I can do it, I believe that everyone can lead. I believe that everyone actually is a leader already. It's just a matter of operating in that area. So freedom, 2 words, right? It means dominating your own free space, okay? Meaning really tapping into your own potential. Now, a lot of people have this grand view about leadership. With the program also that I teach is that as simple as leading your own life, and that's gonna reflect in everything that you do. And I believe we all know this. Leadership is not a position. It is not a title. If you know that you're leading yourself and you want the best for you, that will reflect. It will mean you also want the best for other people. And you're making a change and a difference already. So, it's funny, and I say this to Jesse, English is my second language. And Vivian also, I mean, there was something that I want to say earlier. I cannot articulate it. So if you think that leadership is about intelligence, it's about, being articulate and being good looking. I mean, I'm glad that that's not a problem. I'm kidding. It's leading yourself, loving who you are, and that will reflect to people. One of the things that I learned lately is that, how you say, how can other people love you if you don't love yourself? Well, screw that. How can your body love yourself if you don't love yourself? We have a lot of excuses. Oh, I can't do this. I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling lazy. Oh, it's my hormones. Like, love yourself so your body will love you back. Put good stuff in there, good positive messages, good food. So that, and I know that you can lead effectively.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. So say more about having confidence. I mean, I think confidence, takes time to sort of build up, right? So talk about how can the folks on the call sort of trust themselves enough to have that self-confidence. Obviously, you have this sense of confidence. How can others sort of get to a point where they trust themselves and really confident?
I do a self-talk sometimes because I forget also, right? So from the beginning of time until the end of time, no one is going to be like you. No one is like you. I bet my life on it. I mean, that fact alone, if that doesn't encourage you, I don't know what. So what is unique to you is not universal. So just because you experience a certain thing, don't expect people will experience that. So the confidence that you have should not come from what other people will tell you. Oh, you did a great job. Oh, that's wonderful. That's amazing. You should know that already. And I know that it takes time. So one thing, when we're so busy trying to find out so many things about the world, but if you just really find who you are deep down and you're closer to who you are, you'll be amazed. You'll be like, Wow, I'm cute. I just want to make it light, but not
That's
really,
great.
really.
That's great. So Shel, what I mean, obviously you're just oozing, this positive energy. Tell us about who your inspirations were, who your mentors. Is there a book that you read? Is there something that you sort of turn to for inspiration? How are you so positive?
Okay, I believe that you have to filter everything. Okay, it's not that okay. I heard this from someone. I believe it with all my heart. No, you really gotta filter everything because people have ideas, and again, they're unique. You gotta know what will work for you. However, with the fitnesses that I mentioned, I have a spiritual fitness. I have a physical fitness. There are people emotionally that really like give me positivity. So I look for those people that will push me forward to become better. But one of the inspirations and would have a tremendous impact in my life would be my business partner Teresa. So I mean, I may sound like this, but maybe more than half of what I say I learned from her. So if I'm about to like doubt myself, she'd look at me like, "How dare you? Why would you even think that? You think you can't do it?" And then when I'm about to like, I guess, get upset with someone or lose it, she'll always tell me, and it never gets old because it puts me back where I need to be. She always say, "Goodness and kindness always works. Goodness and kindness always change someone's mind." And I'm like, "Ah," but it's easier to get angry. So it would be my business partner. She just always really pushes me.
Mhm. That's great. So let's shift a little bit. So let's talk about you as an employer. So obviously you do a lot of hiring decisions. You have folks who are applying for jobs. So when you are, faced with two equally qualified candidates for, whatever position, how do you choose? How do you choose the right person for Tselogs, the work that you're doing? How do you make those decisions, knowing that there are a lot of good candidates, but again, who stands out and why?
So know that we're in the restaurant industry, and having two candidates equally qualified is a really, really great problem. I wish I could have that every day, but it's not like that. However, if I'm in that position, I learned this from experience because when I went to work for Merrill Lynch, I was not qualified. I didn't have the experience, nor I have the background and education, but I needed a job. So whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. I was determined. So you'd be surprised sometimes with candidates. You see their, you see their resume. It's like, dude, this is great. And then we try them out. Just not working. But there's a candidate that has nothing to show for. But when they showed up for work, they're ready. They're like uh, just open for any challenges. So and it's qualitative and quantitative when it comes to the restaurant. You can't be, it's hard to hire someone that doesn't love customers. So you got to have some basic things. So they may have a really good resume, very intelligent people, but if they don't love people, that's something that probably I will have to pass. Like I'm not gonna hire that person.
Mhm. So you have the sixth sense then, right? That when you interview candidates, there's some that stands out because they give you the sense that they enjoy working with others, they enjoy working with people.
Yes.
How do you give feedback, right, to somebody that's not working out? So let's just say that you hire them. How do you help them get with the program? How do you sort of help them be better, help them improve?
So first, you will never know until you hire them. So, however, we do probations. We make sure that they are trained well. Our managers are very good at this. I mean, I teach, but I think I'm not very good in training. So, from first week, we will make sure that we sit down and review it, very technical things. And then on the second week, until on the, after their first month. So it's not expecting that they know everything already. We make sure that we walk with them in every step of the way. However, there are only so much that we can do. We also, want to see if it's something that they love to do, they want to commit to. So there's our part, but there's also, they have a part to do.
Mhm. So how do you sort of get those new workers, if I could use those terms, how do you get the new workers to sort of really work in a way that's going to really get them to a place that they're going to be successful? Because, again, new workers, new employees may not have the basics, right? May not have the skills. So how do you sort of instill confidence, provide support, give them feedback, and at the same time, sometimes you got to say it's not working out.
Right. I think
How do you know?
before we get to that, I tell them that, especially on their first week, I tell them, you know what, you're allowed to commit 1,000 mistakes every day. Do it. Fail. We got you, but don't repeat them. You got to make sure that you learn from them. So, and also we don't fire people. They fire themselves because they know the standards. So if they can't even try to at least try to achieve those basic standards, then it's very questionable that they will, improve in a time frame that we expect them to be. But again, just like what I said, we do our part. They always have to do their part, and it doesn't work all the time. But for the most part, it does.
I think that's great to hear, right? I mean, people, they need, again, they need to meet you halfway, right? Because your intent is to help them, and it's very inspiring to have such a supportive program to help them again with their performance. So shifting gears slightly, and again for the folks on the call, I'm going to ask Chel a few more questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to you on this call. If you have questions for Chel, please start typing those questions in the chat. If you have questions, you are curious, you want to ask Chel to dive deeper, please again start sort of entering those questions and comments. We will have roughly 20 minutes for you to enter your questions, and me is going to facilitate a Q&A from 5 to 5:20. Okay, so anyways, in the next 10 minutes, I have a few more questions for Chel. Chel, thank you so much. Again, I think the students are learning a lot. This is very, very powerful. We are recording it. I'm sure some of them will go back and listen. You share so many nuggets. It's priceless. But in terms of the next set of questions, let's talk about adversity. Let's talk about challenges. Let's talk about hardships. Life is hard. Being a business owner is hard. 9 out of 10 businesses fail, right, in the first year. So let's talk about adversity and resiliency and grit. So there's no doubt you demonstrated grit, you demonstrated resiliency and persistence. How do you sort of overcome those adversity? How did you sort of get over the times that you stumbled and failed? How did you sort of pick yourself back up again?
I'm not going to say that I love uncertainty, because I do. However, and sometimes people ask me, oh, is it difficult to run a business or open a business because you're a woman of color? And I'm like, dude, even if you're not a woman of color, it's hard. I'm not going to make excuses and use my labels or identities to make an excuse that, oh, I can't do it. However, I think the most difficult time, I would say, in the stages of our business was the first 3 years. Reason why is because I didn't know anything. I will have to say I didn't know anything about what I was doing. And it was difficult because people are very territorial with their experiences. Like, they don't want to share anything. It's like they see me as a threat. I would go to like a restaurateur and they will not share to me their experiences or what they know. So I have to navigate it on my own. I have to experience a lot of failures that, looking back, I shouldn't have done that. I wish I knew that. So I felt like I was walking in the dark for a few years. And did I want to, but for me, there was no going back. Like, if I'm going to go through this in the dark, then I'm going to make sure I know where to go. So we started to equip ourselves. I started to go to a lot of conferences, connect myself with people, sometimes not here within the United States, but outside, just so that, I'm not a competition. And most of my mentors, if not all, sometimes are not Filipino. So, that was difficult to take because now it's more personal. However, I told myself that, okay, learning from this, one day I'm going to teach people to open a business. And I'm glad I went through it, because when someone comes to me and said, oh, I'm faced with this obstacle, I'm like, I know exactly what you need to do. Let me help you. So I want to be that person to to a future Chel that was having a hard time. So I want to make sure that, not that they should have an easy time, but just enough mentorship so that they could get by, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think again, you continue to be very, very inspiring. And again, I think it's admirable that you're taking it upon yourself, right, to really help pay it forward. So Chel, in terms of mentoring, you mentioned that word a few times. So can you say more about mentoring? What would students need to know? What would the student leaders need to know in terms of seeking a mentor? How do you seek your mentors, and what do you do to keep that mentoring relationship going?
No, I just asked one, I think a week ago or something. I said, I think I need some growth when it comes to teaching, because I don't have a teaching credential. And so I asked this professor, and he's like, oh, I could be your executive coach. By the way, that's Dr. Geisce Ly. So I officially, and I told my student, Jesse, I'm like, guess what? I have an executive coach. And they know him because he's actually teaching at our class. Also, he's involved. But in terms of mentorship, I believe that I don't look at title and positions. If I see someone, because again, leadership is not about that. If I see someone thriving in their physical fitness, I go to them, hey, what is your daily regimen? I ask them for advice already. I don't want to miss out on opportunity, because you will learn something new from people. However, I do have my spiritual advisor, who's my pastor. I have my friends, again, who's better than me. And I make sure that I always ask for their advice. But at the end of the day, whatever works for you, you go with that. So I think at this point, I do have a lot of mentors. It's very important. Some people think that, oh, you're already there. What else can you do? I'm like, I'm not, because there's still so much more that I know I can do.
So on that note, Chel, what else do you want to take on? What other challenges do you want to try to conquer? I mean, it seems like you are, you're going to go very, 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 very far, and you're going to leave a legacy. So what else do you want to work towards?
Well, I really hope so, Jesse. But one of the things, because my team knows this, we're not there yet. We're not even halfway there yet, because whatever we started here, we have a restaurant, we have a farm, we have a school. We want to copy and paste that and bring it to the Philippines where the dream really started. So, if you see that, oh, I've done this wonderful things and all that, I'm like, I'm not there yet, because I know what I need to do. So I'm hoping that with every step that we take right now, it will lead us closer to our goal as a team.
Wow. So can you say more about your vision for doing this in the Philippines? What would it take, at least over the next 5 years, to get closer to achieve this vision, this dream of yours?
So right now, just the logistics. That's why we go back and forth in the Philippines, making sure that I have the connections, both in the academe and politically. And also there's a specific island we want to build this. So we're hoping to actually buy a land over there that is comparable to what we have here. So things like that. It's really a long process, but we're making baby steps, and it's a lot of investment. It's a lot of effort and time. But as we do this, it's not only exciting, you're seeing your idea from conception, and then you're seeing it into a reality. And that's very, very fulfilling. So that gives us joy, and that keeps us going every day.
Wow, I'm so inspired. I want to be, I sort of want to join your team. So one last question, and then I want to shift gear. So Chel, if you fall short of your dreams, you're still gonna shoot for the stars, right? You're just gonna aim for the moon, right? So if you were to fall short, what would you attribute that to? So that again, maybe you didn't quite do. So if you were to fall short, which I don't think you will, if you were to fall short, what do you think would that be? What would that shortcoming be, in your opinion?
Okay, so how I see things is that whatever I'm starting is not it. I'm just paving a way for many, many people, for many, many things. So if I'm not going to change the world, I don't think I can. However, every single day, I want to make sure that I give my 100%.
Mm.
And with that, I know I'm going to get 100%. And if I fail, it's okay. I mean, you move on. There's another day. You have a lifetime to finish what you have started. But in terms of, there are two things that I don't want to happen in my life: to question what if.
Mm.
I don't want to have that question. That's so difficult to have in your life. Oh, what if? Like, I don't want to spend my time thinking about what if this happened. I do it. Second is, I don't want to have regrets, and I want to make sure that when I die empty, meaning I gave my all. And so whether I accomplish whether I accomplish what I set my mind into doing or not, it's fine, because that's my best already.
Mm.
Yeah.
Chel, I'm sure you'll get a lot of comments in the chat later, but again, this is the end of my portion here. Chel, I am amazingly grateful. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your wisdom, sharing your journey with us. You truly have done an amazing work, and the purpose that you're living, that your life's mission is truly inspiring. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I'm gonna shift gear and turn it over to, again, the folks on the call. If you have questions, comments, please enter them in the chat. Ni, one of our student leaders, will be facilitating the next portion. So I'll turn it over to Ni. Chel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jesse.
Have been
always
amazing.
a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ding. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Ni Pham, and I am an ESL student here at CCSF. Thank you, Dean Lee, for interviewing Chel, and thank you, Chel, for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us your story and experience. Like, we learned a lot from you. I was so impressed, like, with a lot of lesson I learned from you today. But beyond that, what have you done for the community and inspiring us? I really thankful for not giving up and always go beyond, because your story is so powerful. So I am really grateful to have you here today. So let's start with the first question in the chat. I saw there are some questions in the chat, and if you have a question or comment, feel free to enter them in the chat. For the next 20 minutes, I will be facilitating for this Q&A portion. And let's start with the first question. Is a different question. Thank you so much, Chel, for coming. Is giving us this amazing and inspiring presentation. You mentioned you moved to the US when you were 14 years old. My question is, what challenge you faced as an immigrant and how you were able to pass through it in all these challenges?
I was 16 years old. The dream of having a school was 14. When I first came here, I knew exactly what I want to do already. Like, I mean, you'll just save a lot of time in your life if you have a goal. Okay. Anyway, so when I came here and I was studying at Jeff, I took the entrance exam. I think I did fairly well. So I'm like, okay, I need to take specific classes so that I could go to at least a state university, hopefully a UC. And yet the principal gave me classes that are transitional, ESL, which is okay. That's completely fine with me. But I really want advanced classes. And also, I know I probably will have a hard time, but I'm already like, you know what, I really want to, I know exactly where I want to go. So it was difficult because I actually had to cry in front of the principal, like, why? And I couldn't understand it. Why are you giving me these classes? It's like, well, because you can't do it. You just got here. That's hard. A principal in the academy telling me that my future I can't achieve, that stings. So I told myself, no, this is my life. You're not deciding for me. And at that moment, I'm already exercising my freedom. Now, this is very powerful because I used the same exact attitude for practically every decision I made moving forward. And so he said, okay, I'll give you the classes that you want. I'm like, well, I guess you just got to ask. So the adversities didn't stop. But the question really is, what are you going to do about it? You still have a choice at that moment. So I didn't take no for an answer. Thank you, Nee.
Yes, thank you. And the second question is, is from Shannon. What's the toughest part of being an entrepreneur?
Okay, the most fulfilling would be people because you see their change. However, the most challenging part is also people because they have their own differences. And I don't think there's like an easy answer to that question because it changes all the time. And you'll meet people with different backgrounds and ideologies. So, you just learn also how to approach and accommodate them on a case-to-case basis. It's not black and white. So I'll say the most challenging will always be people, whether that's a customer, a team member, a coworker, a family member. It's people.
Thank you, Chel. And the third question is from Laura. Thank you, Chel, for the talk. You are very clear, expressing your thoughts, and it is so inspiring. You're enthusiastic, and how did you achieve your goals?
I kind of like mentioned that overall in this talk or a little bit, I think a little bit, but how there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year. Okay, so that didn't happen overnight. Just like what I mentioned, it started when I was very young with experiences that I experienced that changed me and impacted me and kind of narrowed down the steps that I take on a daily basis. So yes, I see a goal. It could happen, it could not happen, but I'm walking towards there. So as you journey, because it's a journey, sometimes we're so burdened with the heaviness of our dream, but really you have time to do that. And while you're at it, have fun.
Yes, and we have one more question from Zanzun. Thank you for your visits and your time. Your stories are really amazing, impressive, motivating. It's what really interested in listening that you took seriously about opening your business when you were just 9 years old. I heard restaurant owners are having a hard time because of COVID-19. I am wondering, how did you could get through this pandemic situation as an owner of restaurant, or when was the hardest moment during managing your restaurants? How did you handle the problem?
It's funny because we started the restaurant during a recession, and myself and my business partner were like, oh my God, it's a recession all over again. Now I'm not trying to make fun of the situation because it's very, very serious. The first month when COVID hit, we were taking $70,000 negative on a monthly. And I even told my team that if this continues for the next months and we have 3 restaurants open, we're going to close within 6 months. Right? But I said that without any fear. I'm up for it. It's okay. If I lose everything, I know who I am and I know my team, we can do it again. So that kind of prepped us. And I'm glad because having that mindset, we were very calm and we were able to resolve and take very minimal losses. So we said, okay, we will not be making money, but we have a lot of time right now. Let's focus on the farm. Let's buy a farm. And we did. And we actually had the two other restaurants, because right now it's still temporarily closed. So we have really great chef friends who are utilizing the space, starting their own business. So that's very fulfilling. And on top of that, they're actually paying for all the expenses because they're using it. So that's taking a lot of financial burden on us. There are ways, but again, it's not easy. But I also think that it was a great time because it gave us a lot of reflection time.
And we have a question from Son. Thank you, Chel Gilla, for many powerful and inspiring messages that you give to us. I have learned a lot about leadership in real life from your story and message. We can see leadership in different environment and situation. What an amazing talk. I have a question. For starting a business, sometimes people come up with a good decision as well as bad decisions. If a business isn't successful at first because there are many obstacles, how do we know we should stop or keep going with that business?
Okay, before you get there, you really gotta make sure you know your vision, your purpose, and your mission. Now, vision answers the question, what you see. Like, what do you see in the future? Why you want to get there? Purpose answers the question, why do you see it? Is there a problem that will be resolved with your vision? And then the third one is your mission, meaning how to get there. You have this big vision to get to a place, right? Now it's like 7,000 miles away, and here you are, you created a boat, right? With one paddle, and you're by yourself. I'm telling you, it's not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. So depending on the dream that you have, you can scale it, you can have logistics behind it, and also you can ask many people. Now you can measure from that idea, knowing your vision, your purpose, and your mission, if it will actually become successful. And also with the things that I mentioned earlier before, have a mentor, make sure that you take care of yourself, having a positive mindset and things like that. But sometimes when I get sidetracked with what we're doing, we go back to our vision, like, who am I really? Where do I really want to take this? And so we go back on track by making sure that we're not trying to do other things other than that. So we're very focused.
And we have a question. Thank you, Chel, for this talk. You mentioned a lot of story regarding your mentor and the value of maintaining this relationship. What advice do you have for us to approach potential mentors and seek out their mentorship?
Okay. Now, sometimes I come from a corporate background, and they use mentorship in a way that actually that's not what it really means. Because mentorship really is, if you find a mentor, they don't want anything to do with you. They don't want your money. They don't want the bottom line. Okay. Really, truly passing on something great that they've learned over time, their experiences, their knowledge, the books that they read. So, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's a relationship also. Like sometimes people would just message me like, hey, can you be my mentor? But it takes time. Sometimes there's a persistent kid that would ask me like, no, really, I want to. And having a program is easy because like, oh, just come on Tuesday evenings. So they would go. Now, if they're not available and not making an effort, then it's a no-go. Because mentorship is a process. I've had my mentors for decades, and I still have them, and I still go to them. And we think of friends, right? Like, oh, do you have a lot of friends? You have good friends. Who's your best friend? But we don't. You ask people, do you have a mentor? No, I don't. I don't know how to navigate life without one, to tell you the truth. So I hope that if you are wanting to really tap into that kind of leadership, start to prioritizing having someone that lead you, but make sure their intention are also good, their content is good, and they don't want anything negative to happen to you. Because sometimes they could use your position, they could use your title, and I just don't agree with that.
Thank you, Chel, for answering the question. So everyone, we still have some time for this chat. So please, for this Q&A part. So if you have any question, please put that in the chat. And I think I have a question from Amy. Yes. So her question is, can you tell us what type of qualities you look for when you propose someone? You mentioned sometime working in a restaurant and this is the first job, and I'd like to know how you help employees grow.
As a leader, you know, just kind of like what my executive chef did with me. He saw something that I didn't see about myself. And so he kind of challenged me, but I'm going to leave you if you don't do something, right? And I think I apply that still in our business. So it sometimes people are not confident, they're insecure, it's their first job, they have no idea how to make coffee, they don't know how to make rice or simple things like that. So we want to make sure that we create a safe environment. Of course, that's one. They see the you know that we're a team, that their value is as important as the manager. So it's not that they don't have the skills. Sometimes they really just don't have the confidence. So we instill that by already believing in them before even they could believe in themselves. It's a lot of work, believe it or not. And sometimes we're not successful, and that's okay. But I believe that when we do things intentionally, they get something out of it. It's not in vain.
Yes. And another question. Much appreciation, Chel, for your inspiring presentation. My question is that who do you think has had the largest influence on the person you are today? You mentioned your business partner has impacted your life. Can I think of him or her?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Just the last portion.
Yes. You mentioned your business partner has impacted on your life. Can I think of him or her?
Her?
Her. Yeah.
Yes. What I think of her?
Yes. So I think the question in the chat is who do you think that has had the large influence?
The large, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely my business partner, because we're the same pace in this journey. Like every step of the way, she's right next to me. But just like what I said, you know, it's difficult to give credit to just one person. There's so many people that if it weren't for that one person, I won't be able to take on the next step. There was this person that came up to me one day. He's one of my really good friends in high school, and he said, "You know what, Chel, I'm feeling defeated, right? And I lost my job. I lost my confidence. I don't have a girlfriend." Anyway, he said, "I don't think I've done anything in my life." And you know what? I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I don't want to say his name. "Are you kidding me? You know what? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know Teresa, who is my business partner. Like, there's no way I would actually be friends with her." And then it's like, and I said, if it weren't for that connection, I wouldn't probably have Tselogs or the restaurant. So I just come from a heart of gratitude. Like Vivian, I mean, the people are here already has given me tremendous impact. Jesse Lee, just giving his time to also contribute in my class. You know, if I drink maybe a bottle of champagne right now, I would cry with gratitude because the people around, sometimes we're just too distracted. We don't see that people are already connecting things for us. So in terms of impact, a lot of people. Specifically, I mean, they know that, but just focus on the positive things that people do for you. You'll be surprised.
Yes, thank you, Chel, for answering the question. So we still have 3 more minutes for this Q&A. So if you would like to ask Chel, please enter that in the chat. And I think I would like to ask you one question. So thank you so much for coming today. And you mentioned that forgiveness is related with growing mindset. So could you tell a little bit more about that?
Okay, forgiveness, I believe, lies in your freedom, meaning it's not in your conditioning. Because if it's just in your conditioning, you won't forgive. Ooh, I won't. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot. It really takes a lot. However, that forgiveness is really for you. It's letting go of yourself, that burden that you're carrying. And sometimes the reason why we are unable to do things because we carry that load. And we think sometimes only if this person, then release that person. Not that I'm not going to talk to that person anymore, blah, blah, right? Really, sometimes they're also a victim of a situation or, I learned that from Jesse. But yes, forgiveness is important because as a leader, if there's a person that you have not forgiven, there's heaviness because there's like an unfinished business. So we have a whole session about that kind of like navigate how, and it's an everyday thing. It doesn't take overnight, and sometimes there are triggers also. So that is within your control. But I I can never ever advise anyone not to forgive. Forgiveness is good. It's healthy. So I'm not sure if I answered my question, but that's a whole session.
Totally. Yeah, thank you. We have time for one more question because I still see one more that from Shannon. I am with the Entrepreneur Club and I believe that you have a powerful message. Would you be willing to speak during one of our meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. When I teach or when I speak at City College, they owe me. So I would ask Jesse, and I'm not asked Vivian to teach. So when I am invited, I tell them, okay, you gotta pay back. You gotta teach in my class too. So yes, absolutely. That's the point anyway, right? We want to make sure that we pass on what we know, our experiences, so that people's lives can be better. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chel, for answering all the questions. And thank you, everyone, for your participation. And that's conclude my part.
Thank you, Nita. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ni, for facilitating the Q&A portion of our event. And I want to thank you again, Chel, for answering some questions for the audience. I really appreciate you sharing your helpful tips, lesson learned, and your sage advice. I personally love hearing about your experience, especially when you mention about how important in the impact you made in employees' life, like especially for the first job. For me, it was so powerful because I never had the idea how much you can impact someone's life. So, and I noticed you have a passion, you have a gift actually to help people. So I love about that. So for those of you coming class, enjoy late. My name is Deborah Dyke. I am ESL student here at CCSF. And now I'm going to facilitate the last portion of our time together, which is to invite you to share what you have learned from Chel. And so if you like to share, please raise your virtual hand and I will call on you. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone would like to share? Okay. So I see Malinali, please.
Saludos, good afternoon. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Chel. I came in a little bit late, but what I really liked is your story of resilience, how you were able to use this time frame of the pandemic to really regroup and rethink and restructure for tomorrow, for the future. Because I know it's been difficult during this pandemic and for a lot of us it wasn't the same, but your story of resilience gives inspiration. And I did put that in the chat. Your words and your message was and is inspiring. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manali. So anyone else would like to share? Don't be shy. I know you have so many things in your mind. I am personally has so many things I want to share, but right now I don't have all the words that I would like to share and all the feelings inside of me, in my mind, because I think you are truly leader, and I think everything you shared with us today was so powerful, was so inspiring. So one day I want to be able to express everything that you have learned, I have learned today. So everyone, I know you have something to say. I'm sure you have.
I would like to share something.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because all throughout all those questions that Jessie asked Chel, her answers always reflect the sense of gratitude.
Mhm.
And you know that is big, especially for every entrepreneur out there, everybody who's starting their career. There are times that there are these people around us that sometimes we forget that they were instrumental. Just like what Chel was saying, that there's a lot of mentors who help her where she is now. Remember, it takes a village. And for Chel to always recognize that there's always those people looking back and then give it back, move, give it forward, send it forward so that we could also be mentors to some others in the future. I think you epitomizes that. So thank you so much, Chel, for what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to what other transformation you could bring to our students and to the community at large.
Thank you, Vivian. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Vivian, for sharing. So now let's turn over to Amy. Amy, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to pick just one, but I think the big takeaway for me was I love your story about leaving. I think it was Merrill Lynch, and just like the leap that you must have taken and how scared I would be to do something like that. And I'm not sure how you felt, but yeah, I think I learned a lot about just needing to believe in yourself. And, it's not going to be a smooth road every single step of the way, but if you continue to believe in yourself, that it can be okay to go outside of your comfort zone and really just rip off the band-aid, so to speak, and um, try something, and you've made it work. And it's really inspirational to see that you went from working for someone to being a co-owner of 3 businesses. I mean, I'm in awe of your ability to take that leap, and thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, I see Sun. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for spending the time and sharing a lot of inspiring and very helpful message to our students. I have learned a lot from you, the way you manage your business and also the leadership in different situations. So I really inspired by the story how you have 3 restaurants, but you can't leave the restaurant for your employer, and you can go everywhere you want. So it's really inspired me, because you know that I always think that the owner should be take care all the restaurant. You don't have time to the time for yourself, for the family, but you like create a new mindset in me that we can believe in the people, we can believe in other people, and that's really good, very very inspiring and very new. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you so much.
So we have 1 more minute for 1 more comment. Please raise your virtual hand and I will call on you.
I'm just gonna add one thing.
Mhm.
And this is very common for a lot of people. Some people ask me, so what do you do when you are scared to make a decision? So I tell them, and I will tell you, if you're scared to do something, do it scared.
Mm.
Still
Wow.
do it. Do it scared. As being scared does not stop me from not doing something. That is exactly not the reason why I will stop. When I feel that way, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump. So I hope that that's something that, you know, could help you also when you're at that situation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shell, for sharing. And actually, I would like to ask you if you have any other final leadership advice that you can would like to share with us.
I think I have. I did not share how I left Merrill Lynch, Amy, but uh, when I was praying one morning. I was 4 years in at Merrill Lynch. I was up for a promotion already at 27 years old. I was making a lot of money. I could make more money because I was taking my Series 7. Anyway, one morning I was praying and I have this huge feeling that if I don't quit that same day, I will die the next day. So I told my best friend, I'm gonna quit. And then she said, "You're crazy." And I called my mom, "I'm gonna quit today." And she said, "You're crazy. Yeah, we have a house, you're paying for everything." And then I called my business partner, my best friend. I said, "Hey Teresa, I think God told me to quit today." And then she said the most powerful sentence. She said, "Then what are you doing? Quit."
Wow.
And so I did. If I didn't quit that same day, I wouldn't be able to take the stocks that I used to open a restaurant because exactly 1 month recession happened. From $72 per share, after 1 month, it went down to $4 per share. So when people ask me, why are you not scared? Dude, I could have died already. So whatever will come my way, bring it on.
Wow. Wow. uh, okay. We are at the end of our time together. Thank you, everybody who enjoyed today's Leadership Fireside Chat. It was truly an insightful learning opportunity for me, and I'm sure for all of us. And again, a very special thank you to Chel Gilla for joining us today. And we are truly inspired by you and your stories. Our next Leadership Fireside Chat is scheduled for Friday, October 29th, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. The speaker is Deborah DeGraw, Director of Marketing with North Coast Brewing Company. We hope to see you in the next month. So thank you so much, everybody, and see you at the next Fireside Chat. Thank you.
Michelle. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
everyone. I
Bye.
appreciate all of you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
I